Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Yes, you are with the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Today we've got another great interview with this fantastic, legendary blues guitarist, singer, Joe Louis Walker. We're going to have Joe on here in a minute. First, I'd just like to take care of a couple of little business items here. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine. That's pplmag.com. You want to check those guys out. There's a great website there full of television and internet radio and blogs, all kind of great information on any kind of subject you would want to know, from health and fitness to great podcasts like this about music and entertainment as well. Also like to thank MTS Management Group. MTS Management Group works with a lot of great independent artists, some of whom you've heard on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. And you can go to mtsmanagementgroup.com. They offer management services as well as publicity and full music marketing services for independent musicians. That's mtsmanagementgroup.com. And you can keep up with the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus at loudinirockandrollcircus.com, where you can hear all the great interviews that we've been doing with great artists like Joe Louis Walker and Paul Nelson and Lance Lopez and all these great, amazing rock and roll guitar guys and blues guys. Like I said, we do have Joe Louis Walker on the phone with us today. Joe Louis Walker, for you guys that don't know, is a Blues Hall of Fame inductee, 4-time Blues Music Award winner, celebrates a career that exceeds half a century. His new album, he doesn't look it. He looks like a young whippersnapper, actually. His new album, Everybody Wants a Piece, cements his legacy as a prolific torchbearer for the blues. Looking back on his rich history, Walker shares, "I'd like to be known for the credibility of a lifetime of being true to my music and the blues. Sometimes I feel I've learned more from my failures than from my successes." That's a lot of us, buddy. But that's made me stronger and more adventurous and helped me create my own style. I like to think that when someone puts on one of my records, they know from the first notes, that's Joe Louis Walker. And this is Joe Louis Walker. Joe Louis, welcome to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Well, thanks for having me, Lou.
Hey, man, so you've got, well, we'll jump around here a little bit. I'm really excited about your new record. It just came out a few months ago, back in October. It's called Everybody Wants a Piece. And tell us a little bit about your new record, who played on it, who produced it.
Lenny Bradford played bass and sang. Byron Cage played drums and sang with percussion. And Philip Young played keys and sang also. And we did I think 5 originals that we've been working on, and we did several songs by other people. And it's sort of a lot of stuff we've been working on when we were at sound checks and different stuff, different tunes and ideas and different things that we've been playing that people seem to be receptive to.
So you guys sort of write as a band. Is that how you do it? You sort of just start jamming and come up with stuff?
Well, sometimes guys have ideas, and we do a lot of sound checks before the shows, and sometimes things happen that way. Sometimes I write for myself. I had many collaborators in writing songs, and sometimes the guys would come with an idea, and we'd all chip in. So yeah, it was just in a number of different ways.
How do you choose the remakes or the cover material, the songs that are written by other people? How do you go about picking that stuff?
Well, I usually pick a song that I have affinity for, something that I like, or something that the producer Paul Nelson, who produced the record. Paul Nelson, as a lot of people know, is the guitarist with Johnny Winters, as well as Johnny's manager, and we work together in some things. It really, you got to go with your gut when it comes to picking songs. I think you want to always sound believable, and so I couldn't do a song that I didn't feel like I I had some sort of serious connection to, because I got to sing it and play it, and it's got to inspire me, and I have to make people believe it where it inspires them.
So the song really kind of has to speak to you, sort of has to resonate with you before you can say, well, let's put it on a record.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it. I understand. That makes total sense. Joe, like a lot of artists say, that, somebody came along or something came along and gave them their quote-unquote big break. What in your career would you consider your big break, if just off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, I couldn't say it's one thing. That's like, that's like somebody going to the Super Bowl saying it was one game that got them.
I got you.
It's not one thing. I say it's a culmination of different things. I've gotten much help in this business from everybody from Muddy Waters. Let me open up for him 2 weeks at a time when I was about 19, to B.B. King 30 years later, let me open up for him and ask me to record with him, and then ask me to record again with him. And people like James Cotton and these projects winning the Grammy and stuff like that. I think that that stuff like that has been quite helpful, as well as words of encouragement and acts of encouragement, from just about everybody. That especially when when you're trying to get your voice heard, and when you're out there, beating the bushes, trying to, become better known, and, you meet somebody that you think is, one of the founders of the music, that you're Chuck Berry or somebody, and to have someone like Chuck Berry tell me, hey, keep at it, son, stick with it, this is where I started at, people like Albert K. People just Keith Richards being really supportive. You can't buy stuff like that. You just feel like you're on the right track, and so it really is helpful. That's why I try to be real supportive of younger artists, because I know how hard it is, and I remember what it was like,
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your beginnings. Like, how did you get what made you want to play the guitar in the first place, and then take us into like how you got started?
Well, my father, really. My father would come home from work in construction when I was a little kid in the 50s, and he would he that's when you had those little 45 record players, and he would play his music, and he played his music on the record player, and it just got my ear attuned to hearing music jump off the record player, and when I heard that guitar, he played that T-Bone Walker guitar on the record. I always wanted to do that. It just was something that spoke to me, and so it just gave. And my mother, being coming with music, she did from down south like my father. My grandmother's bringing all the gospel music. My older brothers and sisters playing all the rock and roll, everything from Elvis Presley to Chuck Berry to soul, the Supremes, the Booker T and MGs, to straight up rock and roll, Jerry Lee Lewis, and so I was pretty much a sponge when I was the youngest kid in my family.
So it sounds like everybody in the family was a musician.
Well, no.
No.
Everybody was into music.
Okay.
And they were, vocally. I mean, my brother sang, and my mom, she played congas and stuff, and we would have little jam sessions. I mean, later on when I moved to the Fillmore district in my preteens and teenage years, then four of my cousins had a band, and that's when I got really into hands-on playing guitar and rehearsing and playing and doing little things, little dances and sock hops and battles of the bands and stuff like that, and playing for motorcycle clubs. We did that all of our teen years. And when we were young, we were all in drum corps, me and my cousins. So we were the official drum corps band. We played, little dances for the drum corps with our band. So we always had a lot of support, all the way up and down the line. And people, it's great when you call yourself something, but it's greater when other people call you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we became musicians. We all joined the union, I think, when we were about 14. We joined Local 6 in San Francisco at the time, and left home at 16, playing, and been out here ever since.
In those, your early influences. Now, I think you said you were listening to James Cotton, and you said you I know that you became friends eventually with B.B. King. Who were the guys that you went like, oh man, that's just it. Like that's the kind of guitar playing I want to do.
Well, some of the guys that I played with were like that. Earl Hooker, Johnny Hooker's cousin, one of the greatest slide players ever, and just a great guitarist. I made a record with Robert Lockwood Jr., which was up for a Grammy too, which was a good experience. I made records with Gabe Mount Brown, Buddy Guy, Otis Rush, Scotty Moore, good friend, Ronnie Wood, and I think playing with guys like Scotty Moore and Ike Turner and Matt Guitar Murphy and having them on tour with me as part of my show was really, as a fan, I just had to pinch myself because, those guys been around music in every which way, and for them to have them trust me with projects and stuff like that, and include me on their projects and on their records, some of them was really, I think, the highlight, one of the highlights of my life, as well as living with Bloomfield and being schooled by Michael and a lot of stuff. That, of course, was a major influence and impact on me as a person and as a musician.
So you listen to music, you tried to you learn off the records, and I'm assuming that these guys like Bloomfield and these guys, you would sort of study. When you worked with them, you would sort of study what they were doing, and you would try to absorb. Is that kind of a lot of how your style sort of developed?
Well, the thing living with Michael was totally different because I'm living 24/7 with somebody who was a big guitar hero at the time, who didn't like being a guitar hero. He didn't like the business. He didn't like, the hype with business. I don't blame him. But with someone like Michael, literally, I would say, well, what is this tuning? What is that tuning? How do you do that? I mean, he showed me how to play piano, but guitar, he showed me a lot of. And playing with Earl Hooker and people like him and Mississippi Fred McDowell, I would ask them about the slide. How do you do that with Muddy? How do you do that? And I got some funny answers, which I can't say on PG. But I mean, it was everything from kid gloves with you with tough love. It's like what are your motives for learning this? All the guys, and I think when guys found out that you were sincere, then, they would, take a little time out for you if they had the time.
So you live with Mike Bloomfield. Did he, take you under his wing? I mean, how did you guys end up in that situation?
Well, I'd already been playing for years, like I told you, but I just happened to be playing with some guys up in the Haight-Ashbury, and a piano player. I mean, this piano player hit it off really good. His name was Johnny Kramer, Caramer.
Okay.
Johnny Kramer, and it just so happened that his cousin is a guy named Barry Goldberg, and Barry Goldberg was part of all the sort of blues little clique they had in Chicago. When all those guys moved out to the West Coast, they were all looking for guitar players. Now, I had never met Barry, and I didn't meet him till later, but it's funny because I went to the Film Auditorium and seen the Butterfield Blues Band the first time, and, of course, the guitar player knocked everybody out, and I was going to a bookstore the next door, and this guy runs across the street to me, and he says, hey, brother, we're at the bookstore, and it was Bloomfield. And just so happened, I said, hey, man, I seen you play last night. You guys were incredible. And he said, we were talking, and he says, what do you do? I said, I'm a musician. He said, who do you play with? I said, well, I play with the guy, Johnny Kramer. He said, she's cracked up. I've been knowing Johnny Kramer. We all come out of Chicago together, and one thing led to another. And Michael moved in the house with me and Johnny Kramer because he was starting Electric Flag, and they sort of moved him out of his own house. So he's surprised he moved in with me and Johnny, and then I left and went to Canada and came back, and Michael bought the famous house on Carmelita Street, and everybody used to come there, all the musicians, everybody from Country Joe McDonald to you name it, everybody come up there playing, and jamming and just having a good time. And that's when Michael was a very open person.
Was it, I mean, for all intents and purposes, was it like a 24-hour almost, people kind of coming and going and playing and absorbing? I mean,
no.
what was that like? I mean, it sounds incredible.
No, it wasn't 24 hours. I mean, you got to consider that all of the people I named, they were all gigging.
Okay, yeah, of course.
They all had homes, and a lot of them had children. I mean, but everybody knew that, if something was going on at Bloomfield's house, there would always be guitars there, keyboards, amps, drums, and a lot of times, he would, they'd have things like, Country Joe McDonald would come over and they'd do some folk guitar picking. Jerry Garcia would come over and they'd do some country picking, and then piano players would come over because Michael played a great piano, and they'd do stride pianos and slides. So it was just, outside of Taj Mahal, I think Mike Bloomfield is one of the people that I know that have so much music in him that one genre, it's a disservice to say that Mike Bloomfield was a blues guitar player or Taj Mahal is just a blues artist. That's simply not true. They've done everything, believe me, from reggae to Taj to country, and Michael playing with the Woody Herman Orchestra, playing on Like a Rolling Stone with Bob Dylan.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody's heard Mike Bloomfield.
Yeah,
don't even know it. Don't even know it.
This brings up another subject. I mean, blues is there's all kinds of blues. You all the different guys that you mentioned, and just in that last couple sentences, I mean, represent all kinds of, wide spectrum. What is the Joe Louis Walker brand of blues? Can you put it into words even?
No, I leave that to people like you to do that. I don't try to do that. I mean, I really don't. That's like, asking Will Chamberlain, well, how did you make 100 points in a basketball game? He couldn't tell you. Half of it was luck, and the other half was, just sheer willpower, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to answer you as best I can, I try to play music that's honest. I try to play music that is a amalgamation of my influences, things that have touched me, things that I know about, and I try to play with other people to learn other things. I can play. I play on all kinds of records. Believe me, I can play all kinds of stuff. But I wouldn't want. I want to do something that sort of moves me. And I played with a lot of gospel groups. I played with a lot of rock bands. I played with a lot of jazz people. But blues is my mother tongue. It's just the emotional content of blues is it's like reading Shakespeare. If you're human and you have the human condition, you're going to experience the blues. You just got to know what it is.
Yeah.
I have to tell you because you're going to feel it, but you don't know what it is. Yeah, well, it's something that we all experience.
And it's so. I mean, we've established. I mean, you're obviously a very accomplished musician, and you won some awards in the Blues Music Award 4 times. Now, what did you win for? And you've also been inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Contemporary blues artist, a couple of times. Band of the Year, Record of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Well, several things. I can't remember. What they do is when you're nominated, they send you a nomination. They send you a nice, commemoration of it, and it I got about 54 of those things, so I can't. I think I'm passing Buddy Guy as the most nominated, but Buddy is the most winningest.
Well, congratulations on that. Now, and you also recently, at the end of 2015, won this or named as a fellow in this United States Artists USA Fellows. Can you talk a little bit about this and tell us what that's all about? You got like a nice award for that.
Well, thank you. It's the USA Artist Fellowship. It's a sort of an umbrella organization. They distribute and name people that they figure have a lifetime of achievement for what they've done and what they're trying to do to assist them if they're, say, if you were trying to start a foundation to help people, which I'm sort of doing it's a little foundation to help younger people. But they distribute the Ford Foundation grant, the Rockefeller grant, a bunch of different grants, and I was fortunate enough to win the Oliver Foundation grant. And the Oliver Foundation is the one that oversees the whole schlemiel, because they have 400 applications, and what they do is that they vet everybody, and they award it to the person that they figured that at that particular space and time deserves it. And you can't just apply for it. You have to be nominated, and they don't tell you who nominates you.
Okay.
And so it's kind of secretive, but it's a very I think positive thing, because I was the first blues guy to win in 40 years, so it's great.
Wow, congratulations on that. First blues guy to win in 40 years.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's excellent, man. Hey, now are you on tour right now? Are you guys touring right now to support the record?
Well, we just picked up. We're picking it up after the holidays here.
Okay.
So it's picking up.
Yeah, your publicist was telling me that you do a lot of touring. What do you love the most? Musicians, if you have a guitar, you want to play. But what do you love the most about playing live? What really gets you going about that?
Well, it's sort of a cliche, but it's direct. It's no us and them. It's really when a musician's on stage, it's all us, because you're looking for the feedback from the audience, and it's great, especially when it's spontaneous. As opposed to saying, "Hey, everybody, can you say yeah? Can you?" It's great when you can play something and somebody gives it yeah. Just spontaneous, because that means that you've reached them, and to talk to the people. To get out and talk to people. I like to get out and meet people and talk to them all over the world. And so, to me, it's a privilege, to have that job, because you get to do what you want to do for the most part, play what you want to play. It's like that TV program Cheers. You go where everybody knows your name. All you have to do is try to be nice and gracious, and do your best, and people are pulling for you.
So you guys are getting ready to push hard here in 2016 on the new record to tour and get out there. Is there anything you'd like to plug directly to the audience out there? Maybe your website or.
Well, if I would just make a sort of plug for all musicians that we sort of in this age of technology, it's sort of cut a hole in a lot of the musicians' income as far as making money off your art. Now everything, they just give it away for free, or people just take it. But I would just say, as my bass player Lenny Bradford would say, you can come out and support live music, whether it's Joe Louis Walker or whoever it is, because or a live play or go to an art show, because the artists live by that, and it's common knowledge that art brings people together. That to me is the best kind of art that brings people together. And when people are together, then I think that a lot of we can all relate to each other. You get to know somebody and you get to enjoy something with them. You can relate to them, and that opens the door for us to be more of a family.
So just get out there and go check it out. You guys, I was looking at your website. You definitely looks like you're filling up here in 2016 through January, February, and on. So if you guys go to joelouiswalker.com, there's a tag or a tab for tour, and you can see what what Joe's got going on and where you can go hear him. You mentioned about how the business has changed. Is that the biggest thing you've seen change? I mean, you've been in the music scene for many years. This sort of like shift to music practically for all intents and purposes free.
Well, I mean, I think it's several things. With the advent of internet and Facebook and things like that, it's almost like musicians are expected now to, you get a gig and they want you to get on Facebook. They want you to get so many likes. They want you to, so you have to hire somebody to do that, and it's just a little bit. And unfortunately, the clubs are having a little bit of a tough time because a lot of the laws now. Who wants to go to a club and have one drink and I don't drink myself, but have one drink and then be afraid when you leave that you're going to get pulled over, get a DUI. So people want and there's a lot of different things fine for the dollar, but I think for most part, I mean, live music will always be with us, but right now, it's I know for a lot of musicians it's extremely hard because the income, you put your outlay, say you have a self-financed CD or something like that, and it's really hard for somebody to really get a leg up. It's just it's harder now than I think it's been in quite a while, and so just hope that things can transpire so that real musicians can get out in front of real people and connect with them and hopefully find a way to navigate all the technology that seems to be sort of it's something you invent but something you can't control.
Right.
So. We just hope that live music stays with us, that it isn't all auto tunes and Pro Tools and technology.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, there is nothing like seeing an artist like yourself or Paul Nelson and there's nothing like seeing that live. We can watch all the YouTube videos we want, but there's something about being in a room with a bunch of sweaty people rocking out to this music that you can't replace that. There's not gonna be no computer app that's gonna replace that. So we just got to keep pushing forward.
I hope not.
I know. Hey, guys out there, go to JoeLouisWalker.com and you can keep up with everything that Joe's got going on. He's dynamite, a powerhouse guitarist and musician. You definitely want to check that out. Joe, hang out for a second here. We're going to come back and after our announcements here and do a little bonus question. You with me?
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Just 1 second. Hey, guys, you've been listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. And you can go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com to hear more great interviews with artists like Joe Louis Walker, Paul Nelson, and some of the other people we've mentioned here. I'd like to thank one more time our sponsors, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine, that's pplmag.com, Pittsburgh's first internet radio TV network and online community magazine. And would also like to thank one more time MTS Management Group. MTS Management is more than just an artist management company. It's a bona fide rock star in the music industry. So you want to go to mtsmanagementgroup.com to check out all of that. Once again, my name is Lou Lombardi. You are listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, and our website is LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Thanks, guys, so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next podcast.